So what I did is, because I wish that there was something I could have done to help my mother, but not insulin, just medication. So a very minor case. So I just went there blind to this island to train in anything and everything holistic. And actually I trained in yoga, meditation, energy work, nutrition, detox, and I fell into a depression. I had money in the bank. I didn't have to work for a couple of years. I'm training in holistic health. I'm living on an island. This is like a dream for many people.
The same struggles, the same issues, the same depth within their own, like depression and the darkness. Can you replicate this?
Trying to replicate or duplicate an experience that one person has had to another is unduplicatable. So state of their mental health, their emotions, even the day that they had leading up to that ceremony of psilocybin can influence their experience. So that can never be duplicated. I believe using human error allows that to happen.
Please explain.
Basically go fuck things up. Obviously not on purpose. So what I do is, like people that go through the Art of Guiding Meditation, it's a very short course, 10 hours long. It's clear and direct. And the reason why there's not a ton of content is because I use real life experiences as the most powerful training tool. That, in my opinion, real life is the best training course you could ever experience in your life, and you can never pay for it. The lives that we live in is faster, quicker, give it to me now. Everyone wants a chiseled physique, but isn't willing to work for it. So then they can turn to different supplements or drugs or processes that are harmful for the body just to try and get there faster. And the thing is that the body doesn't like change. The mind doesn't like change. It likes conditioning and repetition. If you can just go step by step and allow the body to shift and change, you're gonna find that journey into your own much easier.
Cool. Stephen, I wish I could show you how it looks outside of my window here, because it's snowing heavily and it's April the 10th and you're in Bali, you're sun-kissed. I'm a little bit pale, even though I were in Portugal just a couple of weeks ago, and I've got the flu. People have heard me before. They sound that my voice is a little bit shaky. But I'm so stoked that you're here. But we're going to go deep into health. We're going to go deep into the value of being able to facilitate spaces where people can heal. And that is why I'm so excited to speak with you today. So welcome to the show.
Man, thank you so much for having me on. And I'm really excited to dive deep on some of these topics with you.
Yeah. And I would want to begin with, like, what was the catalyst that led you into breathwork? So was there a specific moment, or was it like a gradual realization?
It was pretty big moment, actually. I was a building engineer in Denver, Colorado, corporate America, started a company, ran it for 8 years, was very successful. And then my mother passed away unexpectedly due to a change in her medications.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but honestly, I feel like on a spiritual level, it was one of the biggest sacrifices that someone could make, especially a mother to a son. Because a year later, I got in some trouble. I started going in a downward spiral after she passed, and I got in some trouble. And I prayed to her every day, Mom, if you can get me out of this, I swear to God, I'll change my life. I'll make a positive impact in the world. I'll help other people. I will do such great things, but you got to help me get out of this. And sure enough, 4 months later, going in and out of court, there wasn't enough proof or evidence, and case got fully dismissed. And 2 weeks later, I had already sold everything I owned, sold the car, the house, the company, everything, just in the pure belief. And I wasn't into spirituality, manifestation, none of that at the time. And sure enough, not enough evidence. And 2 weeks later, I was on a one-way flight to Thailand to train in holistic health.
And how old were you at this time, at this stage?
30 years old. I just turned 30 years old.
30 years old. So, but how did you go from like being like quote unquote cleared from the States, selling everything, and going to Thailand?
What do you mean?
Like was Thailand, was holistic health, was breathwork like even on your radar at all?
Okay, so
because
this
it's
is
just like a weird thing if you would just like go through like that tragedy with your mom, winding up in all that trouble, selling everything, and just going to a monastery, or how did that just like
right.
come onto your radar?
So this specific island in Thailand called Koh Phangan, it I heard through a friend of a friend that it's a hub for bringing some of the world's top teachers in holistic health to go and host trainings. And so what I did is, because I wish that there was something I could have done to help my mother not have, she was
Oh, okay.
diabetic, but not
Sure.
insulin, just medication. So very
Mm.
minor case. And I wish that there was something I could have done to help. So I just went there blind to this island to train in anything and everything holistic. And actually,
Mm.
I trained in yoga, meditation, energy work, nutrition, detox, and I fell into a depression. I had money in the bank. I didn't have to work for a couple of years. I'm training in holistic health. I'm living on an island. This is like the dream for many people. And I fall into my first ever depression. And
Sure.
it got dark. I started having suicidal thoughts, not intentions. I didn't want it, but I was having glimpses on a subconscious level of suicide. And it really freaked me out. And so in this journey of just trying everything holistic, I just never found something that really resonated with me and made me feel like it was kind of my zone of genius. And to be honest, breathwork was my least favorite modality. I thought, you guys are all
Really?
idiots. Like, and I was doing a lot of holotropic and rebirthing. People are screaming, pounding the floor. We're hyperventilating like crazy. And I just thought, you guys are just absolutely nuts. And you guys you want to teach me how to breathe? You know, I was corporate America, a westernized man. So I just thought, you guys are just, you all drank the Kool-Aid. Well, accidentally, this is about at the lowest part of my depression. And I was at the point of giving up on holistic health because I kept getting worse and worse. All these modalities and, approaches were not helping. They were just making things worse. So I'm at the point of giving up on this. And I accidentally ended up at a session. It was supposed to be a restaurant and a dinner, but the restaurant was closed. And we go to leave, and my friend goes, "Hey, look, there's a multi-sensory breathwork meditation happening in 1 hour. We should stay." And I was like, no, no, absolutely not. And I was doing a lot of psilocybin therapy at the time. And I'm like, multi-sensory, I don't have my medicine, my, psilocybin. I don't want to do this. And I hate breathwork. Well, they forced me to stay. And sure enough, we stayed. And then this Indian guy walks out of the back room named Neeraj, the founder of
Niraj.
Soma Breath. Yep, the founder of Soma Breath.
uh,
And he introduces how to do the breath work, and we're going to do this wild experience. And then sure enough, somebody had psilocybin. So I ended up taking a dose of psilocybin, sitting down and doing this breathwork session, and it changed my life. Right then and there, in that moment, I saw a glimmer of light inside of myself that I had never seen before. I saw a glimpse into my future, and I knew in that moment I found my purpose, I found my passion, and there was nothing that was going to stop me from moving forward with it. And after that
mhm.
session, I followed Neeraj around like a puppy dog for a week, begging him to teach me. I was like, you have to teach me. In 1 year, all these teachers, I've never felt anything like this. And he said, Stephen, I tell you what, if you can get 15 people together, I'll do a training. I'll do a teacher training. I said, deal. So me and some friends went around the island, gathered up 15 people, and he did a 10-day training. And that was the very first Soma instructor training that ever
Re-
existed. And then he launched the online course. He gave it to us after the training, after the retreat. And so technically I'm the very first Soma instructor.
no,
8 years ago. It was
technically,
8 years
you
ago.
are the guy that pushed him to
Yeah.
create the training. So
Yeah.
good on you.
It's crazy story, man.
Wow.
Crazy. Yeah.
Holy shit, what a story.
Yeah.
So if we can unpack that psilocybin trip that you did together with the Soma breath, is that like something that you could like package and redo it, or was it a one-time thing that happened there and then, or is this replicable? Can this work for
I
other
mean,
people feeling like the same struggles, the same issues, the same,
Right.
depth within their own, like depression and the darkness. Can you replicate this?
I mean, to a certain degree, yes. Now, trying to replicate or duplicate an experience that one person has had to another is unduplicatable. Okay. So the state of their mental health, their emotions, even the day that they had leading up to that ceremony of psilocybin can influence their experience. So that can never be duplicated. But now it's really amazing because science has shown and proven what psychedelics and hallucinogens do to the brain. And what's happening is when you are combining breathing that is altering the endocrine system and how it is that your body reacts to thoughts, the release of hormones, neurotransmitters, then you're actually duplicating what psychedelics are doing. So, breath work used in the right format, specifically Soma breath, that is actually giving you the same neurological and biochemical response as psychedelics would. Okay. But now you combine the two together in a safe container in space, and you're talking about basically doubling down on what's happening in the brain, like the default mode network that deals with our ego. Okay. And it basically separates us. It's who we think we are. Well, that goes offline, and that allows us to feel that sense of oneness. You combine breathing patterns like rhythmical breathing and breath retentions like Nishisha, Rashaka, Kumbhaka. Now you're releasing hormones in the body that are raising the vibrational energy and giving yourself a conducive, energetic state through the rhythmical breathing. And you're creating the optimal biochemical internal environment to achieve the most monumental things in your mind, your body, and even aligned with your emotions.
Wow. So yeah, so I go back to my question. So can you replicate that? Understand that it's like really unique for each individual. But what I liked with Soma breath is that it is so structured in a way. And for me, be doing like the Wim Hof breathing for a while, I don't feel that I can like go along, or I can get lost a little bit in the breathing. But what I felt with Soma breath is it had like this structure where I could like more easily follow along, and I didn't like fall off the breathing, sort of
Yeah,
say.
yeah. No, I don't think it's replicatable. Like you can do
No.
it and achieve an incredible experience, but that experience is going to be different between each person. And again, it always goes back to the breath. You can achieve the same internal responses without using psychedelics or psilocybin as you can using Soma breath. But I can't state it. I'm a science nerd. For me to
All
say
right.
something can be duplicated, there's just not enough data. And every anyone that's taken psychedelics or ayahuasca, LSD, even MDMA knows that each experience is slightly different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So how do you know when you should go and do a certain type of breath work, or go to a certain course, or go to a certain healer? So because I can see when I read on your website, and I really love how you package yourself, like props for the design and the packaging and the clarity with what you can achieve with going on your courses or taking your one-on-one. So because I also need that, because there are a lot of courses that I feel it's just like, okay, it's breath work and whatever happens happens.
Right.
So is there no nowhere where we just like can state these are the issues that I help you with? For example, if I'm experiencing depression and I come to you, what would you prescribe to me?
Well, usually depression is a deficiency in chemical responses, right? The brain is reacting to a thought that's triggering the nervous system, and then that's accessing the endocrine system. So, the really cool thing about specific breathing. And anyone that's looking to get into breathwork, I highly recommend that you get behind the science of it, because breathwork is not a one size fits all approach. Okay. And that is generally the general approach from most facilitators. But when you understand that by tweaking the breath slightly, okay, it's going to change what happens in the mind or the body. Now you become an alchemist as a facilitator to work with people in certain circumstances. So depression, there's a multitude of approaches that I would take. One, it's as simple as just balancing the nervous system out first and foremost. And any type, when you're dealing with somebody that's got any type of mental disorder, even a physical issue or emotional, it's not about one thing. It's about a stair step and a buildup to help the body become reconditioned. So I would start with a simple breathing pattern that is going to create a state of coherence. Okay. A state of coherence is the balance of the nervous system, and it helps the communication of the heart to the brain. All right. The heart sends more signals to the brain than the brain does to the heart. There's actually 40 or 50,000 neurons that exist in the heart. So our heart has its own brain. We can open up that channel of communication, then information's coming through more clearly. Right. And at that point, now what I want to do is actually trigger a response. So after that person does this for a little while and they recondition the body to be in a balanced state through a balanced breathing rhythm, now I want to actually induce almost a state of fear, a triggered state through breath retentions. Okay, so I'm going to start to slowly introduce breath retentions. And when the body goes into that state of panic, okay, now what you're doing is you're giving it the opportunity to then find strength or comfortability in the uncomfortable. Okay, so does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And then I think
So,
a lot of it comes
yeah.
down to the facilitation as well. So
Can we
what you're
dive deep
guiding
into
people into.
facilitation?
Mm-hmm.
So, what are your
Mm.
like main what are the most like important ingredients in like facilitating such an event? Like if we could like use a 5-day workshop as an example.
Yeah. So number one, top of the list, don't tell people what to do.
How do you
So
mean?
do you like being told what to do?
It's not my favorite.
No, no. and, and when we are told what to do, we generally do the opposite or we do nothing at all. So think about this. The majority, I've dissected so many different forms of meditation, breathwork, or facilitation. And what I found is the majority of facilitation is done from the teacher telling the participant what to do. Feel the love, ground to earth, open up your heart, connect with your body. What if I don't feel connected with my body? Okay, let go of fear. If it was as easy as me telling somebody to let go of fear and they could do it, don't you think the whole world would be a different place?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And so what I found, this is my theory, is people struggle through life transformations, okay, because there's a subconscious resistance in implicating it into their lives because nobody likes to be told what to do. And just because we're saying these beautiful, nice things, I'm not saying it's wrong. I mean, the facilitation approach in this way is just kind of the standard. It's what we're taught. And we're saying beautiful things to people. And so it's not like it's necessarily doing harm, but I don't think it's allowing people to have transformations. They're resisting it. So instead of me telling you to connect with your body, I'm going to guide you into a moment you felt connected with your body. What was happening? Who were you with? What was it about that moment that made you feel connected? So now what I'm doing is I'm giving the power to the people, the participants. Because when you figure something out for yourself, it's empowering. You release dopamine and you get that rush of good feelings. So this is how we can shift out of mental disorders like depression and things of that nature, because no one's actually giving these people a chance to find gratitude, to find joy for themselves. They're just being told to be grateful.
Sorry for being a little bit nerdy here, but do you guide them there with questions? Then you are
So
not telling them to go to a specific moment where they felt gratitude. Because this is like the elegance I love with hypnotists. People that are trained in NLP or are trained as hypnotists, they rarely tell someone what to do, what to think, because they know that that doesn't work.
right,
But they
right.
can invite them with storytelling, metaphors, and questions. So, how do you guide people to get that experience?
So I believe there's only two ways to guide a session. Any form of facilitation, there's only two ways: questions and suggestions.
Mm.
Now, questions create individuality. You go on your own journey, you decide and decipher what it is you want, how you want to feel, and what you want to create, okay? Or let go of. The list goes on and on. So, questions create individuality, suggestions create relatability. So, what I found is we're all the same. Everyone's had a moment of fear and courage, love and heartbreak, success and failure. So, if you look at it from that point of view, we are all the same. So, what I'm trying to reshape the facilitator industry right now to help facilitators become themselves, individuality. I'm a firm believer in just being your true, authentic self because you bring power and emotion into that. So if you as a facilitator connect with a past moment or experience that you have had around the theme of your session, okay, facing fears. So when was a moment you felt fear? What was happening? Okay, what was that experience for you? How did you begin to shift out of that fear? Okay, or change your relationship with fear? And then what was it like when you didn't feel bound by fear? You connect with a real life experience that you've had around your theme of your session, fear. So then you use a combination of questions and suggestions. You guide people through questions to have their own journey around what fear is or feels like, or what they experienced as a participant or as an individual, as one of your participants. But then you use suggestions from your own personal experiences. And because we're all the same, that's how you make your sessions relatable. So when was a moment that you felt fear? Maybe this was a moment that you were going to speak in front of a group of people. You were trying to go after your dream and passion of a new career. Maybe it's a moment that you were starting to have feelings for another person. When was the moment you felt fear? So can you relate to any of that?
Yeah, for sure. My mind just like grabbed a moment where I felt fear, and it was like completely random. I didn't think about that before, but I went there mentally. So I
Right,
totally
right. Because
guess what
all,
you did here.
yeah, it's all stored in the body.
Beautiful.
And those three suggestions, well, I have fear, you know what I mean? Or a sense of nervousness or even agitation, just even speaking with you. So I use that in real time. When was the last moment I felt fear? It was right before we hopped on here. Okay. I have a beautiful relationship with fear. So fear doesn't stop me. It motivates me. But that is so real, so raw. And I don't have to think about it. It's stored in the body, in the memory of all of our cells, all these experiences. So that's how I believe you increase the ability for transformation on a physical, mental, and emotional level using any form of facilitation. But in this regard, breath work, you combine the right breathing practices in correlation to what conditions or deficiencies a person is going through. And then you combine the right type of facilitation and you're enhancing the ability for transformation for your individuals or your participants.
So, big red flag number one, don't tell people what to do. What is the second?
Second, in regards to facilitation, it's be yourself. All right.
If you
Everyone's
could
trying to
sell this
mimic
and
someone
package
else.
this, we're gonna be billionaires. How to be
Well, you can go to
authentic.
breathewithsteve.com and join the Art of Guiding Meditations, and I'll teach you exactly how to do
Yeah, awesome. People will just
it.
hop off this podcast and just go straight there. And if you become more authentic, I'm super happy that we had this talk this far. But we'll just continue for our sakes. So there's nobody else
Yeah,
listening here.
exactly. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
Love.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I feel like in this industry, everyone's just trying to mimic somebody else. Their teachers, their guides, their mentors, and the individuality is gone. I mean, obviously not completely. I'm making a very bold, large statement, but it's because all this stuff is what I went through to find myself. No one ever asked me, what is it that I want? What would I want to do? What would make me happy? I was taught in the holistic industry and spiritual field, if you do this and this will happen. Okay, if you breathe like this, you do this Kundalini Kriya for 41 days, this will happen. And I always ask the teachers, why? And he said, because that's just the way it is. This is what the ancient people did. This is what they proved. And this is just how it is. Stephen, you have to have faith. You need to surrender. And I was like, what? This sounds like Christianity. If you do this, you go to heaven. If you do this, you go to hell.
Yeah.
But like, you know what I mean? I was just curious. I was a curious student. And what it did is it manipulated me to follow the herd, to wear all white, to do these certain ceremonies and approaches. If I had this thought, it was bad. If I took this action, it was wrong. And I just disagree with this 100%. And when you can be yourself, then you bring emotion. Emotions are your superpower. Everything we do in our lives is driven from an emotion. Why would we not try and bring emotion into our facilitation, into how it is that we communicate, connect with people when we're following our aspirations and our dreams, driven from an emotion? Why not? Why not? So individuality is so important. The only thing you have to do, though, is you just have to show yourself that it will work. So I believe using human error allows that to happen.
Please explain. Use human
So
error.
human error. So basically go fuck things up. Obviously not on purpose. So what I do is, like, people that go through the art of guiding meditations, it's a very short course, 10 hours long. Okay. It's clear and direct. And the reason why there's not a ton of content is because I use real life experiences as the most powerful training tool. That, in my opinion, real life is the best training course you could ever experience in your life, and you can never pay for it. No one can ever teach you real life. You can never buy that course online, but you have to show yourself. So when I go through the certification process after the students have finished the course, I almost immediately throw them on the spot. I make them use real life experience to show themselves. If they make a mistake, the world doesn't come crumbling down. Nobody stands up, points and laughs and says, oh, you missed a cue point in your session, or you stumbled on a word, or you missed to tell me to nostril breathe. Nobody knows. And then what happens, you recondition your relationship with fear, with conditioning, with projected outcomes that we don't know are going to happen. So by using human error, you actually gain much more confidence than you could trying to work on your confidence. And it also helps you see that by being yourself, it's much easier to facilitate than it is trying to mimic somebody else.
Yeah. So that was just like the best point ever. Be authentic. And we've been speaking about that in like with different guests here on the show, like how to be authentic. And I don't feel it's just like so like really straightforward, but the more I get comfortable like with my own fear, with my own insecurities, it feels like I become more authentic.
Exactly. So a lot of people are trying to work on how to become more authentic rather than watching the outcome of being authentic.
Wow. Yeah.
So if we just try and be authentic, and or just not try, but we do authentic, then what happens is you then can observe the outcomes and you realize it feels better. The reactions from people are incredibly beautiful. It's easier than you thought, but we've been taught to look a certain way, act a certain way, say things, look cool, this and that. It's not our fault. We're being socially conditioned. But generally, we're never giving ourselves a chance to be authentic and then see what happens. Again, human error, just go for it. And then you'll see what happens. And it's really special, but you have to try it. You have to try it first.
Yeah. I can also feel like a lot of empathy, especially with guys not being authentic. And I'm thinking about like this specific guy at a course. Like this was like 10 years ago. I was like really new into like doing guided breathing sessions, and he like I was going to Tony Robbins and different events, but this guy, he was like really tall, and I could see that he was like super unsure of himself. A really tall guy, so he really stood out, but he was just like trying to like like tuck his body in and not show anything about himself, and his eyes were like just like shut. There was nobody home. And after a breathing session, maybe this was like the third day, and we were all standing in like the circle afterwards, like just sharing, and our eyes just connected. And I saw that, okay, he woke up. There was a light in his eyes now. And probably he's been going like maybe his whole life not being authentic, not feeling connected to himself, having his eyes just like dimmed down, and there was like just something else there. It was the first time I saw like that type of transformation, and I just got like that was one of the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And we just like looked at each other, and like I just like, I see you, man. I see you.
Yeah.
So I get goosebumps. I get like emotional talking about this. And
It's a very
uh,
special moment for you.
yeah, it's a special moment. So I empathize with people not like finding that space to be authentic, and like how to go there is like super interesting for me, and how to help other people uh, get there. So we had, don't tell people what to do, be authentic, be yourself, use your own stories. Is there anything else that's like super important? Do we have any more ingredients to become like a super great, amazing, badass facilitator?
Honestly, this kind of a mixture of like fucking things up, if you will. But all you have to do, sorry,
Let's
that's a
have a
bug
cough
in my
break.
throat.
And I'm gonna be coughing more if I don't close the window. I feel like because it started to snow, and we had like 14 degrees plus Celsius, and today it's snowing. It's like crazy weather. Just 1 second, cut this out so I can just get the window's here. Guys, it opened up by itself. Okay. That's why I like started freezing. Okay, we're back and cut this out.
So the other would be, don't make things up. So using your past moments and experiences, in my opinion, is one of the most powerful things that you can do. Okay. So when we are trying to write a script or mimic a teacher or a guide or give the people what we think they want, we're projecting into a false reality. Okay. So one of my biggest recommendations is don't design and guide your sessions for the people. Strange, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Design and guide your sessions as a pure reflection of yourself. The things that
Wow.
you've been through, the things you've gotten through, the walls you've broken down, your hardships, your achievements. Why? Because it's real. It's authentic. It's genuine. And there's emotion tied to it. And when we can bring emotion into our session, we bring power. And when we design and guide our sessions for the people, we're projecting into a false reality, thinking we know what they need and what they want. But we don't know. If we have 10, 15 people show up to a session, we don't know what each person needs and what they want. And so what we're doing is we're in our thinking mind, thinking about what to say, thinking about what we're going to do and how we're going to deliver it. The emotion is removed and we can become a bit robotic. Not only that, but we're not giving the power back to the people. So we have to trust in their ability to have their own life transformations. But when we design it as a reflection or guide it as a reflection of ourselves, your facilitation becomes so easy because all of those reflections of yourself are you. It exists inside of you. It's stored in all the memory of your cells. And this is another incredible way to really learn to embody authenticity, because you realize you don't have to make it up. You don't have to do anything different. All you have to do is show up. If you show up and use your past moments and experiences as an internal guide that has emotion naturally tied to it, literally all you have to do is express yourself. I don't even like calling it breathwork sessions. I call them expression sessions. And nobody will ever know that.
I love that. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Express
yeah.
like this makes so much sense to me, but at the same time, I also feel like relieved. I feel like this
Hmm.
is a simple guiding principle that I could like take with me into like facilitating whatever I'm going to facilitate now. I haven't been doing that. That's not my primary business, but I'm pivoting into wanting to work with that like so much more here in Sweden and around in Europe. So that makes so much sense. Thank you for that.
Yeah, man. That's like the step by step process, you know? It's like give your session a theme, make sure it's a reflection of yourself, connect with a storyline, you know, of a past moment or experience of what it felt like and what you were going through, and then use a combination of questions and suggestions. And I'm telling you, it literally overnight. Literally, I've done this in a 45-minute workshop. I took somebody with zero experience. They'd never guided a session before. I did it in a training, actually, and I wasn't supposed to, but I had to prove to myself that I could do it. So I picked the one person out of the group that had never guided a session. He picked a theme. Okay. He made sure it was a reflection of himself and he was being authentic with this. He wasn't making it up. And then he told the group a storyline, what it was like. And what I like to do is use a burger effect. I call this the burger
Yeah.
effect. The bun is, okay, I have to cover this. I have to. This is so cool. Have you ever thought that sessions and facilitation is a bit linear, just
Yeah.
upward and onward, or
Yeah.
even just straight down into traumas and things like that? So, what about duality? Without light, there is no dark. Okay. Without good, there'd be no evil. We wouldn't know joy unless we felt pain or sadness. Duality is what balances this existence in ourselves and the universe. So why wouldn't we bring the same mentality into our sessions? So if my session's around facing fears, okay, the first bun of this burger is experiencing what your relationship is with fear, experiencing a fear that you have or have had, right? So duality in facilitation stretches out the rubber band, right? And I believe this is what really helps people to have the light bulb go off, to make the shift, because they're actually experiencing the full spectrum of that feeling or emotion or that experience. Nothing is all just rainbows and sunshine. No, there's other things that come along with it. And we should experience that and be healthy enough, or have an open mind enough to do it. Okay. That's the bun, is the opposite of the theme of your session. Okay. If it's confidence, when did you experience or how did you experience or what is your relationship with confidence? So many different ways you can go.
Yeah.
Then the meat of the burger is, what was the shifting point? What did you do to start to make the shift? If we don't take action in things in our lives, we're not going to see results. So how is it that you could change your relationship with fear? Could you surround yourself with quality people? Could you tick one of those fears off the box? Could you face it right now? What is something you could do to shift out of this debilitating fear? The burger is the shifting point. And then the other bun of the burger is when it was manifested. What was it like when you were not bound by fear? And so what you're doing is you're creating the full spectrum of that theme or topic by using duality in your session. And that's what I had this guy do. It was really interesting too. Little did I know this, but I said, go ahead and tell us your storyline and follow this burger effect. Well, his storyline was that he lost his job. His son had passed away. His wife left him. His social status was gone. And it was all about, his session was around acceptance. And I had never done this in front of a big group before. This was a couple of years ago. And I was terrified. I was like, Stephen, what have you done? What have you done? You know, I didn't know this guy had such a traumatic story. But then we walked through the process. He told the group the storyline. Everyone was sitting there just in awe. But then because there was such raw emotion, there was so much of this experience that was existing and living inside of him that I hit play on the music. And he goes, what are you doing? I said, you're going to guide a session right now. He goes, what do you mean? What do I say? I said, trust me, you'll know. You'll just know because it's there. You just have to give yourself a chance to see that you can. So he goes, Stephen, you got to tell me, how do I start the session? I said, I can't. Otherwise, I go against everything that I believe in. Just trust in yourself. Human error. He guided a 15-minute session and he brought 31 people to tears. Every single person in the room felt it so deeply. And he looked at me and goes, how did I do that? I said, because you gave it a chance. That's crazy. Crazy,
Shit.
crazy. So those are all my key points.
You see my goosebumps?
No. Man.
Wow.
Thank God I recorded it. And it's the final video of my course. It's the only piece of content. I share everything. I don't hide anything back. That's the one piece that the public will never see. It's too, I don't know. There's something special. Every time I watch it, I cry and I shed a tear. I get goosebumps and it's really special when the light bulb goes off. This is what I love about training facilitators is I have the pure blessing to be able to watch the light bulb go off for somebody when they've either doing it for the first time or they've been trying to fit someone else's shoes for so long. And the light bulb goes off that they can do it themselves with no script on the spot, with no preparation time. They can just be themselves. It's why I wake up in the morning. It's why I do what I do. It's a very special thing to see.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
And I would want to continue to ask you, is there anything more that is a huge red flag except of like telling people what to do and being inauthentic? You've probably been to so many courses that has just like giving you a
There is
reason to just run the other way.
Right.
I felt that a couple of times and just like left some sessions in Bali. Just some like crazy yoga. I was like, oh, demons flying around. I need to run.
Right. I've walked out of many sessions before, actually. I'm like, nope, not doing it. Not doing it. I mean, I don't want to say too many things about red flags because I don't want to plant seeds in people's minds where they're looking for the wrong in things. But there's one thing that really sticks out for me. I was taking discovery calls for a large breathwork academy. And I was just informing people about the training course so that they could become educated and then join the program if they felt the need to. And this woman, she was doing, what was it? Clarity breath or conscious connected breath. It's just open mouth breathing, right? And I said, well, do you know what you're doing to their blood pH? I said, no. I said, okay. Do you know what's happening to the nervous system or blood pressure or any of these types of things when they're in the middle of a breathwork session? No. I said, then why are you doing this? Why are you guiding these sessions? And I swear to God, verbatim, she said, because I love to see the reactions from people in the session. They scream, they laugh, they cry, and I love to just watch their reactions.
Really? That's weird.
I swear to God. Pure ego. She literally was not there to support people in life transformations or, a process. She was there to stroke her own ego. And by taking people through these extensive breathwork sessions, whether they were ready for it or not, she was just doing it so she could get her kicks, so she could look cool, act cool. And I'm really against this. So always keep an eye out for a facilitation or even a methodology. There's a right place to do certain methodologies. Not everyone is fit to do an intensive session of like Kevlar, where it's like intense forms of hyperventilation. It's a form of therapy. It's a therapeutic tool. It should be used sparingly. And if somebody's not ready for it, you can re-traumatize them. So
Yeah,
it's always good to
yeah,
keep an eye out for people that are guiding sessions for their own, what is that word? I don't know, their own objective rather than the objective of the people.
yeah. But it's also like the business of things, and people have like this idea: I want to facilitate, I want to help people, and there might be a great intention there. Okay, I want to help people heal, and they've like gone to just like, I don't want to call it like regular breathwork sessions, but before I met Niraj, I didn't know that there was like all these variations. I just thought breathwork was you breathe like for 40 minutes, 1 hour, and then you cry or you scream or you get horny or whatever happens to you. That is what I saw. It was breathwork. And I was like, okay, anyone can do this, and maybe it's beneficial for everybody. I have no idea. So that is what I'm coming from. That is what I thought breathwork was. I haven't gone through Soma Breath, the education, the program. I haven't done that, but I can see like that people have like a good intention to want to do anything, but from what you're saying, that can also be like really harmful. So I'm really curious from your perspective, from your eyes, because I know you are deep into this. Me as a amateur, or me as a like layman or a regular person, what should I keep my eyes on? Or how do I know that this is a good facilitation? This is a good workshop. This is a good program.
Right. Well, I mean, the lives that we live in is faster, quicker, give it to me now, right? Everyone
Yeah.
wants a chiseled physique, but isn't willing to work for it, right? So then they can turn to, different supplements or drugs or processes that are harmful for the body just to try and get there faster. And the thing is that the body doesn't like change. The mind doesn't like change. It likes conditioning and repetition. So if you can just go step by step and allow the body to shift and change, you're going to find that journey into your own much easier, much easier. So start slow, gentle, balanced breathing. Then integrate a little bit of faster breathing patterns, okay, in short durations, talking 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Then bring in more deeper forms of breath retention. Okay, this is really, really important, but it's going to trigger a response to the nervous system and the brain, and it can put you into a state of panic. Okay, you slowly drip those in. Okay, and then go back to the slower breathing patterns, but with more breath retentions. Then go into longer durations of just rhythmical breathing. Then see, it's a stair step process. So just move slowly. For your first session or even your first couple of sessions, I would stay away from any forms of hyperventilation or like 2-3 hour long breathwork sessions. I would recommend anyone new to this, you start with rhythmical breathing. Okay. Even if you were to do a 1 hour session, rhythmical breathing is going to keep you from going into a chaotic state. Check this out. Erratic breathing leads to erratic thoughts. Erratic thoughts lead to erratic feelings. Those feelings turn into emotions, and your emotional state is how you perceive the world. So balanced rhythmical breathing is how you keep all of those thoughts, feelings, and emotions and your perception of life balanced and not erratic. So anytime you're getting into this, I highly recommend that you stay away from erratic mouth breathing.
And could you show an example of that? It's like, is that erratic?
Yeah, you got it. So our whole bodies work off of rhythms. Okay. Nature works off of rhythms, right? You have the rise and fall, the sun, the moon, the tides, the seasons, flowers opening and blossoming. Everything in nature is rhythmic, and everything in our body is rhythmic. So when we're not breathing in a rhythm, we're going against the natural human design of our physiology. So these intense forms of hyperventilation that are done erratically, again, it's a form of therapy, but you're putting so much oxidative stress on the nervous system. You're basically frying it. And then that can release an intense emotion, which in done in a controlled environment is good. You know, it can be very therapeutic. But talking about a general breathing practice on a daily basis, or a breathwork practice even, it should always be done to a rhythm. And the best way to make sure you're in a rhythm is to breathe to music. Music is a perfect rhythm. If you try and breathe in a rhythm in your mind and you hook up a biohacking device and you watch what happens to the power frequency of your nervous system, the dominancy of sympathetic to parasympathetic, the elevation of your heart rate, so on and so forth, it will take you so long to change the dominancy of your nervous system if you're trying to breathe in a rhythm mentally. Now, you breathe in a rhythm to music and you will watch the change in the dominancy or activation of sympathetic or parasympathetic in a matter of a minute or less. It's crazy. It's crazy how quickly the body reacts to a perfect rhythm. And remember, the
Mhm.
body likes conditionings, it likes patterns. So the more you breathe in a rhythm to music, the more you're conditioning your mind and body to be able to breathe in rhythms naturally.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's really interesting why I started like loving the guided Soma breath meditations on the app, because I felt it wasn't as erratic or as stressful or as just like, oh, I need to just like I was like forcing myself before. And so this was like smoother, and that there are like so many different types of breathing, also different tempos.
Yeah, and I mean that's what you're doing. I mean, mentally, your body's telling you that this seems off. So mentally, there's a resistance in doing, you know, any form of breathing that's not in a rhythm. But internally, you're harmonizing all the internal rhythms and systems of your organs, your body, your nervous system. So not only externally or consciously are you thinking this, but that is also being talked about internal on a subconscious level as well. And when you align those two, well, then it makes sense why the body's smart. It's telling you things. It's just
Yeah.
whether or not we're listening.
Yeah. uh, what was the most dramatic transformation you've witnessed in a client through breathwork?
Loaded question, man.
Uh,
I didn't see that one. I didn't see that one coming.
without naming
Of
anybody.
course.
Well, yeah.
Of course. Of course. I God, there's so many. I was working with a paraplegic,
All right.
and this one's on more of a physical level. But he had been paralyzed from the neck down for 28 years, or maybe even longer. Yeah, roughly just under 30 years. And he had sleep apnea, so he had a CPAP machine. He had to sleep with a machine on, and we got rid of his CPAP machine, which was like a miracle due to the state of his body. And then one day he messaged me and told me that he had an electrical jolt go up his body, and he felt it from the tips of his toes all the way to the crown of his head. First time in 30 years he's ever felt anything in his below his neck. And
Wow.
that was pretty monumental on a physical level. On a physical level, it was huge. Absolutely huge. I mean, on an emotional level or just a life transformation, hmm. I don't know. There's one that really sticks out. A lot of people don't talk about their struggles or their challenges until later. You know what I mean? Until like after they've kind of gotten through it. A lot of people feel shame or guilt around, issues or, troubling times that they're having. But one person told me they had plans to commit suicide like that day. And
Was that like before a session or a
yeah,
workshop or a?
yeah,
All right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
there were
they
other people around.
they were going to do it, and they said for some reason they the session was already scheduled, this, that, and the other. And I found out after the session, they said, actually, Stephen, I had intentions on killing myself today. And they didn't. And that one was pretty, I think a lot of it too is because I could relate. Not that I ever wanted to kill myself, but like having
Uh,
thoughts of like turning my bike into oncoming traffic, or when I was on a hike and on a big bluff, like having a flash in my mind of me stepping off of it. And it scared me so much.
mm, mm,
And to I've gone through some hardships in my life, but I believe it's because the universe needed me to be able to experience it firsthand, so I could speak from a place of reality, relatability, rather than projection, and like reading from a book on what these things do and how they feel and what I should do to help it. I believe in real life, like I said earlier. And so when this person told me that, it really struck my heartstrings, because this person actually wanted to do it. And but I know how scary and how intense that emotion is when you get to that state. And so I thought it was really special to think that I had even a microscopic hand in helping somebody to see a different light in their own life and to keep that light shining.
mm. This makes me think of a point that, like, in your work and what you're doing, people are experiencing a lot of emotions, transformation. Things are happening. What is important for you when you, like, receive that, or when you are like communicating afterwards? Like, or are you holding them? Are you integrating that in some way? So what are you doing with all of that transformation that is happening?
I really, I mean, it's just what I do, but I try not to do too much.
Mm,
It's their experience. And the more that we handhold people and I can't transform somebody's life. I actually don't really believe in this whole like I'm a healer statement. I'm not a healer. I don't heal people. No, and I don't transform somebody's life. I give people opportunities to heal. I give people opportunities to transform their own life. I can't make somebody have a transformation. That's on them. That's their job. It's their prerogative, their decision. So when a session like that happens, I try and not do too much or say too much, because it's giving them a chance to integrate, to embody what just happened that they did for themselves. That's so empowering. It's much more sustainable and everlasting. If I try and compartmentalize this and psychoanalyze it for them, then it takes away from what they just experienced themselves. But the little that I will say is I always try and make things relatable. I want people to know they're not alone. They're not the only person going through something. So if I can, and this is only if I can, but I mean, we all have had our own experiences on the full spectrum. Some people are more intense and more specific than others, but as a facilitator, I want them to know that I'm no different than they are. I've had those moments, I've had those times. So planting a small seed or dropping a small comment around my own understanding of that in regards to myself makes them feel like they're not alone and they're not crazy, or they can too change their life and achieve something as well.
yeah. And this may be on a superficial level, but, like, how do you view structure? Is there any form of structure? What about, like, food? Should the food be good, or like vegan, or like carnivore, or like the details around it? What I've experienced is that people can get a little bit like cringy, or not cringy, they can be a little bit cranky if they, like, okay, they're coming to a new place, they don't know, like, okay, where should I sleep, where's my bed, where's the bathroom, uh do I when do we eat, when's food coming?
Man, I can't really. No, I just don't agree with this
Mm.
this back and forth deal, especially right now and nowadays. Literally, there's so much information being exposed that is on complete polar opposite sides of the scale.
All the time.
Why all carnivorism or eating all meat and protein is doing this. Why I just researched something the other day that beetroot and kale actually um, are actually toxifying. And I'm like, what? So my belief is you are the best scientist of your own life and your own body. You need to figure it out for yourself. So try it. I've never done a carnivore diet, and I'm going to start one in a couple of days. Why? Because I want to see how I feel, how I
Mm.
react. And I just don't believe in this whole, when I was researching about certain vegetables that are quote unquote not good for you. Um, but I do juice cleanses all the time and I feel phenomenal. So for me, that may be true, but I don't care. I know what it does for my body. And the more that we're thinking about eating or all organic or having this right diet or counting calories, all we're doing is putting a subconscious fear into what we're doing in the first place, which has a communication of I'm not good enough, I'm not beautiful, I need to be better. Okay. And this voice in the back of our mind is actually putting contraction on our capillaries, our artery ways, our muscles. We go into a state of contraction, and then you're not breaking down the food the way the body's designed to break it down in the first place. So it's actually more dangerous to eat all organic but in a state of I'm not good enough or from a state of fear than it is to not eat organic, but do it because you love it. So I say eat what you love, eat it in moderation, and test out what your body works best with, and know that it's probably going to change. As you
Yeah,
change,
yeah, yeah,
your
yeah.
your diets and how your body reacts will change. So have fun with it.
Yeah.
Like last night, I had juices all day. I was going to start a juice cleanse. Okay, I had turmeric, carrot, orange, cayenne pepper, and lemon. That was one juice. The other one was all greens: kale, celery, cucumber, green apple, and I had like four of them throughout the day. I was going to do like a 5-day juice cleanse. At like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, I mean, I was just like, I was in a bit of an emotional state. I've been integrating some emotions from a family situation and traveling through America recently. And I know that these juice cleanses reset my mind and my body. And after a day of juicing, I just decided today's not the day to do it. And I went and got a pizza. Okay. I
Wow.
got a pizza
Yeah.
and I sat in my bed and munched on that pizza, laid around, and I felt amazing. And when I woke up this morning, actually, I didn't feel amazing. I actually felt a little low, but I was happy with what I was eating and I felt that I deserved it and it's what I wanted. I woke up this morning feeling the best that I felt in 2.5 weeks
Mm. Yeah,
because I did what I
pizza can
wanted to
do
do.
miracles. You
Dude,
heard it
yeah,
there.
really, really, yeah. Eat what you love. Be happy when you eat.
Yeah, yeah. Be happy when you eat. Exactly. But for a workshop and a course, so like not going into like specific diets, just you as a facilitator, like telling like what the schedule is, where they are going to sleep, or like this is going to happen for these several days. How important is like telling the structure?
I just take very unconventional approaches. I
No.
teach people to figure it out for themselves. How can I give somebody so much structure, eat this and do this and do this, when one, I'm holding the power as the teacher or the facilitator, or even the
Yeah,
coach.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. I got into health coaching for a while and I realized that I was just telling people what to do all the time, telling them this is what the routine they need to follow. This is what they need to do. This is what they need to eat. This is when you need to sleep. And it made me feel like I was just flexing just by telling these people. So I reframed my approach in coaching. I don't like coaching, actually. I
Mm.
haven't coached a client in a long time. I like training other coaches. That's my zone of genius. But there for a while, I was coaching people around health and well-being. And eventually I was like, this is just me flexing. I don't want to do this anymore. So I would start to find ways to coach people where they would build their own routine.
Mm.
I would give them a list of routines and practices and breathing and movement. And I said, look, I want you to play around with this. I'm like, okay, but how? I'm like, I don't know. Let's play around with it. That's the whole point of playing with it. Just play with it. And then after they got used to these different practices, we would come back and then I would say, okay, what did you feel about this one breathing practice? Oh, it helped me feel really calm. Great. What about this one? Man, I got like a big burst of energy when I did that. How'd you feel like eating this? This made me feel heavy. This made me feel light, so on and so forth. So how are you feeling right now? Oh, I'm feeling a bit lethargic and my mood's a little low. Okay, well then how would you piece together, let's say a 15 or a 20-minute routine to start this week off and to do for the remainder of this week? Out of these practices, what would you do? So I gave the power back to people. They build their own, my clients build their own routines. I would just give them all the tools. And then they got to learn to listen intuitively to their body. They found, because when I'm gone, what are they going to do? If I just give them everything to do, they're only going to follow that. When we're always changing, we're always evolving. There is no one routine that works for everybody. So when I'm gone, that person becomes reliant on me. They're not sustainable. They're not independent. Now, if I can teach them the routines and the practices and the breathings and the movements, but then they go through a process of learning how that feels for them and how to listen to their body, then when I'm gone, all they have to do is find out how they feel and then grab the tools that they need in that day, in that moment, to better themselves even just a little bit. And this is how you, in my opinion, how you can create more sustainable clients and people in the world that are not reliant on their therapist, their coach, their facilitator. I want people to be able to handle it themselves when I'm gone.
Yes, like what comes to mind is the quote from the Bible when you teach a man to fish instead of feeding him the fish. So it's like so relevant, like still today, because there are a lot of experts out there, especially on Instagram and all the social platforms, like do these 3 steps and do this and never do this and the 7 mistakes, and like we are bombarded, and the thing we are missing is like knowing how to fish, but also what you've been speaking about and that you are like also a great example of is just like tuning into yourself, where you have like that authenticity.
Man, this
Yeah.
is crazy that you say that. You know that workshop that I was talking about where I
Yeah.
got that guy to guide a session for the first time, right there on the spot? When he leaned into me and goes, "What am I supposed to say?" I looked at him and I said, "If I tell you, then I take your ability to fish away." And he looked at me and I said, "Give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. Teach a man a fish and they'll eat for life." I was like, you have to show yourself you can fish. So this is funny that you bring up that reference. It's one of my favorite sayings in
Okay.
this entire industry. So well played, sir. I applaud you on that one. It's a really good call. I love that. You're getting brownie point. Are you flirting with me? Are you
Yeah, yeah,
flirting with me?
I'm totally flirting. The funny when you told me about that story, I didn't get that that this quote didn't come to mind. Like I was like more of seeing a mama throwing the bird out of the nest. Okay, you go fly, and I know you will fix this before you hit the ground.
In
That was
America,
like
they
the
just take
visual
their
I had.
babies and they throw them into the pool and just like, well,
Yeah,
here, that's one approach, I suppose, like sink or
yeah,
swim.
yeah.
But
Yeah, that's so cool. What what is your like main program, like your flagship program that you have, and what does it
it's
do for
called
people?
yeah, it's called the Art of Guiding Meditations, and it's a facilitator training. It's actually an accredited certification course. I got accredited by the largest accrediting body out of the UK called the CPD Group. And they heard about the course. They reached out to me actually and said, "We want to look into your training." So I gave them access. They dissected it and then came back and said, if you're interested, we'd like to accredit this as a certification program. And that is my That is my flagship. That's my number one focus, is reshaping the facilitator industry. So, I mean, I've got some like, it's called Energy to Action. It's like an 11-day challenge that pieces together how to reverse engineer your goals and like how to build this really cool 1 hour routine. I haven't sold that course in 2.5, 3 years, literally. So like somebody could take it if they want, but I focus on one thing and one thing only right now. And that is supporting facilitators to make a difference in the world. I've guided thousands of sessions. I don't really guide that many sessions anymore. Why? I find more joy in highlighting other facilitators that are in their journey and their path where they're the ones out there facilitating, and I want to support it.
Mm.
So that's my number one focus. And actually, as of today, I just launched a new kind of program inside of that program, the Art of Guided Meditations, where I'm helping facilitators to increase their actual business. So how to increase their social following, how to build events, workshops, offers, how to negotiate and give proposals to companies, corporate, whatever, and reformatting and structuring the business side of things. Because just because I'm helping facilitators to reach their facilitator mastery in the course, The Art of Guiding Meditations, what happens after that? And I have a wealth of knowledge, and I'm very blessed to have worked side by side with Soma Breath for 8 years. So I've learned a lot, and I realized I wasn't sharing it with the community. So I have a webinar, like a workshop on in a couple of days around building an offer and increasing your social growth. So that's a new thing I'm playing around with right now. So I'm excited
That's
about that.
super interesting because I love marketing. I run a digital marketing agency, been doing it for 8 years. So, and who are your like biggest inspiration when it comes to content creation?
It's going to sound really weird.
Yeah,
One, I want to talk to you on this because I
yeah.
am not good at marketing at all.
All right.
I'm a trainer and I need to stay in my lane. I need to stay in my lane and let other people stay in theirs. Um, okay, this is going to sound strange. Don't.
All right.
I
Yeah,
don't like, I don't really follow people too much.
yeah, yeah,
I don't really read too many books or listen to too many podcasts. I love research studies. Okay. Scientific research studies. I will read those for days, but
mm,
I don't like to be manipulated. I went through a really heavy period in my life when I got into health and wellness where I fell into the herd and it became very manipulative.
yeah,
And I don't like to be manipulated through people's own thoughts and opinions. So,
yeah,
looking at content creation, I would rather figure out what works for me and it takes 6 months than go and try and research it and let it from somebody else and not let it be 100% aligned with me, but I can achieve that result in a month. I would rather it take longer and it's more authentic and I get to experience the journey through real life experiences because I reach a higher level of understanding and knowledge
mm,
behind it,
mm,
even though
mm.
it took me a little bit further. So I try not to be swayed or influenced through the the other people that are doing it because then it makes me feel like I'm not good enough. You know what I mean? If I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
man, look
yeah,
at what they're doing. Look at that. I wish I could be doing that. So if I stay away from that, then it's just a journey. I'm not here to get to the end of the race. I'm just here to play and have fun and make an impact. You know what I mean? I don't want it to end. Like, let's go.
yeah,
That's kind of weird though, right?
yeah. But I see that you put like some effort and thought about your content. So it's like
No.
you no no
No, no, no. I just same thing. I'm everything that I'm teaching and that I believe in is not about trying to over prepare for something. It's about finding
yeah
it. So
yeah
literally this morning, I just hit record on my phone on a topic that I had never talked about,
yeah
and I launched this workshop, but I had no idea what I was going to do. And then I just hit record on my phone and I just started talking about it. I find the answers and solutions that I'm looking for through communication. Okay. So conscious mind it wants to look cool, act cool, and sound cool. The subconscious mind is a product of all of our past moments and experiences. It's all of our conditionings, programs, and imprints. But no one's talking about the unconscious mind or the superconscious in a sense. Okay. Now, when I'm streamlining a flow of information, I can't think about the next thing I'm going to say. Right now, I'm having a conversation with you and I cannot think about the next and, the, but, or even verbiage at all that I'm about to say to you. So this right now is so raw and authentic because I can't think about the next thing to say. And I believe that is the accessing the unconscious mind. And the unconscious mind is pure, in my opinion. It's not swayed. It doesn't have opinions. It's just neutral. And so I find answers to problems, content, creation when I just hit record and I just go. I just start speaking. And it may take me 15, 20 minutes. It may take me 2 minutes. I don't know. But eventually I'll say something and go, whoa, that is really cool. Then I'll take that and I'll break that down. And then next thing you know, I come up with this crazy idea and then boom, I just do it. I just do it. So
I'm so,
obviously there's some
Yeah,
thought that goes
I'm
into it.
so happy. I'm so happy that you shared this because during the facilitator training program that I attended this weekend, the last weekend, I heard like because I just had to like shut up and don't like put on all of my ideas because I've been doing like public speaking about social media marketing for also like 7 years right now, and during the last 2 years about AI powered marketing. And what I hear is you have like this old idea of how marketing should be. And what I hear you say is that you are marketing in a way that is more aligned with you, is more authentic. And when you look at like the biggest reports where they put like hundreds and millions of dollars of creating these reports of what is the state of social digital marketing. So the last 4 to 5 years, I don't know like for how long time. So the number one thing in order to be successful at marketing is authenticity. Like it says like the word authenticity is like the number one. It's
Cool.
been the number one for like so many years now. I don't know exact how many years, but you could go to HubSpot. They do like an amazing report every quarter. So there's so many reports that I go through and review like each quarter, and like authenticity, just like hit record and just like you're providing value, you are seeing an issue, I want to like explain this, I see this in facilitators, I want to help them. I can just like press record and speak about it. I can do a live, I can do it like uh, a video and post it, I can do it in text, I can do it in a podcast. Whatever the medium is, you are coming from a space of service, you are serving and you are being authentic, you are using your own stories. So it's amazing how some creators have exploded just being themselves.
Well said, man. I've never really thought about it from that point of view either. Because I butt heads with marketing companies that I've hired in the past, trying to learn branding, advertising, marketing. I always butt heads with them because I don't follow what they're telling me. And they're like, Steven, this works. And I'm like, I understand, but do you have any idea how it makes me feel when I'm doing it? They're like, yeah, well, do you want to scale? And I'm like, well, yeah, of course, but like, not at the cost of my own my own personality, like no.
Mm.
And so this is really affirming what you've just said, because for me it's about the journey of testing things out. I believe that we all have access to all consciousness. It's just about pulling it out and finding it, whether that's listening or testing things out. But it's really affirming what you're saying, because for me it's just kind of second. It's just what I do. It's I don't really think much about it. But the way that you've just articulated it makes me realize that it really does. It aligns with a deeper core value than I already knew, but on a deeper level. So thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate the way you articulated it.
thank you, because it was just like it clicked with what you were saying, and like I hope that more facilitators that want to create a business out of it, and they should just like, because like I hear like so much ideas and concepts of marketing that is old.
Mhm.
Because I know that we've been conditioned about like from like TV commercials, how they've been looking. It's polished. It looks good. It's jingles and boobs and all of that. And we are living in a new era, in a new time, where you can make money just being yourself. It's amazing. And I want to circle back to like your main program there, for any facilitator that is listening, because I have a bunch of friends that are, and people that are listening to the show that are facilitators. They are moving into that direction as well. What can they expect from your course?
You can expect that you're going to be able, when you complete it, you'll be able to guide any session, anywhere, anytime with no preparation time. And you're going to be able to do it feeling like you can be yourself. That's like my biggest statement. Literally on the spot, you can just do it anytime, any place.
I heard a mic drop. I was like, you were holding the mic just dropped. Okay. Yeah. That's amazing.
Well, and there's a reason why I say that, because when we first started growing Soma, we didn't know what to do. We didn't know how to facilitate, and we were just throwing spaghetti against the wall. And then all I was doing was just following the way that my mentor, was guiding sessions. But I noticed that other people were connecting more with his message than they were mine, even though I was duplicating it and actually trying to optimize it at the same time. So you would think that the student, you know what I mean, would surpass that. Just as natural kind of evolution,
Yeah.
but it was the opposite. And I found this to be really strange, really, really strange. And so that's what inspired me to start trying out different things and different styles to find my own. And then once I found something that clicked for me, it was like night and day. I started to drip it out to other facilitators just to see if it was just me or if it would help them. And then that evolved over the course of 4 or 5 years. And then a group of facilitators actually approached me, 50 of them that I taught in this special workshop. And they're like, Stephen, you have to build a course out of this. So I never had any intention on doing it. It was just how I guided sessions. And I was just teaching people inside the Soma Academy how to do it just to help. And so that's kind of the way that it all transpired was really interesting. And this whole idea of anytime, any place, anywhere comes down to when we were throwing spaghetti against the wall, the founder of Soma Breath would literally lean into me, and he was getting ready to guide a session in front of 150, 200 people. And it's 2 minutes before he hits play, and he would lean in and go, "Hey, Steve, I want you to guide the meditation." Excuse me? I've been a facilitator for like a month, 2 months, and I'm terrified. This is so new to me.
Yeah.
And I have no background or experience. And I'm like, "What's the session supposed to be about?" He's like, "I don't know." "Well, what music are you going to use?" "I don't know." "Well, what kind of things do you want me to say?" He goes, "I don't know. Figure it out, Steve. Just figure it out." And then he'd turn around and walk away. And then he'd go and hit play on the music track and just go, "Steve, go, guide. Okay. And oh my goodness, I used to cuss him under my breath. I cuss like a sailor, and I wouldn't even feel comfortable saying these out loud on this podcast. I used to get so angry with him. But then what happened is I had rapid growth. Rapid growth. And that's when I realized, wow, this really made an impact. And then I got thrown into some other situations after I became more experienced. And I rocked it. I felt so grounded, so comfortable, almost limitless in my ability to facilitate without really being driven by, that heavy nervousness that is very common for facilitators to experience. And then I realized, wow, I don't think anyone could shake me. I literally think I could be thrown into any situation. And then I implicated that into the certification process. So there's 3 calls to get certified. The first one is just a free flow meditation. You pick a theme, okay? You walk me through your storyline, and I help make sure that you have, your format, not formatting it, but you're not going too far outside of, your own personal experience. And then boom, I make you guide a session right there on the spot. And people don't know this really. I don't make it very clear in the course because I want it to be a surprise. Okay. Well, the second one is you pick a different theme, you express your storyline, but then you're going to customize that into whatever modality that you want. Whether it's breath work, hypnotherapy, it could be meditation, it could be public speaking, it could be whatever you want. You format it into a different modality. Okay. Then the third one is what I believe to be the highest level of facilitation. So the participant or the student is going to ask me what I'm going through. Okay. He's going to ask me a couple of questions and then find out what I'm going through. And then through my expression, they're going to find a theme that resonates with me. Then they're going to connect with their relation, the facilitator's relation to that theme of me. And then they're going to take about 1 minute or less to drop into their own storyline of that experience. And then boom, they guide me through like a 30-minute session right there on the spot. And I tested this out a while ago. I showed up to a breathwork session for 150 people. And again, I had to prove this. I had to prove that this was possible. The only way to do it was to try. So I really put my neck out on the line on this one. And I asked 150 people, what is something that is holding you back in your life right now? I mean, there was not a single, I don't think there was like two of the same comments. You know what I mean? It was money, relationship, health, mindsets. It was finances. It was legal things. I mean, the list went on and on and on. And I thought to myself, okay, what's the correlation between all of this? And I asked the group, I said, do you think you would have these health conditions, relationship, problems, money issues, if you felt that you were fully connected to who you truly are? And it went ghost. It went
Shit.
ghost. Yeah.
Holy
And everyone
fuck.
said, yes. Yeah, we agree. I said, okay. So I dropped into myself and I thought, when was a moment I didn't feel connected to who I truly am? Okay, the burger effect, right? Then
Yeah.
what did I do to start to find out who I truly was? And then what was it like when I had that glimpse or that moment that I felt grounded in who I truly am? And I literally took myself through like a 6-year storyline. Took seconds for me to do this. I hit play on the music and I started guiding the session right there on the spot. And people, they didn't know that I was doing this as a test until afterwards. But every single person was like, Steven, that was the most intense session. So beautiful. What did you do? I said, I made it relatable. I made it authentic. You know what I mean? Because I brought emotion, because I have emotion tied to the journey that it took for me as an individual to connect or to be disconnected to who I truly am, to find that connection and then to feel that connection in real life time. So I brought power into the session by doing that. So the final phase of the certification process is I teach facilitators how to do exactly that.
Wow. So I was like, during the end here, I'm gonna re-listen to this podcast a couple of times, uh, and I'm gonna be ready with the notes and just like tune in, feel in. Things has been going through my own body, and I feel also like super clear on my mission going forward. I've been feeling that for quite a while. I've been longing for so many years to find like, okay, this is my path. This is what I'm supposed to do. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it, but I know that this is the journey for me. And I appreciate you sharing, being so generous with your wisdom, with your insights, with yourself, just being in your own authenticity and sharing that with us is like so beautiful. And encourage anybody that want to like be on that level and facilitate, like join your website. And the last question is, I don't know if it's the last question, but where can
Wait,
people
wait, wait.
find
I
you?
want to know. I want to know you said you have this big insight, your path, your purpose. What is it? Can you share?
It's yeah, of course. I'll share that. And I've been like I've had this company for I think it's 8 years now. Been doing social media marketing for companies, and it has been like for any companies, big companies, small companies. and been really successful with helping them scale and grow. And I'm like really into the business sides of things. And I enjoy talking about it. I've been doing public speaking about it. I've been doing workshops, like seminars, one-on-one coaching when it comes to both business and marketing. And I feel that I'm like really passionate about it. But when I was 20 years, this is exactly 20 years ago, I started studying naturopathic medicine and meditation. And I was doing yoga, and I was also doing martial arts, MMA, and going to acupuncture. And I was like really interested in different types of diets because I could like heal myself from like all the crazy rashes I had, the aches I had in my body, gone from like being overweight when I was like a little bit smaller, then just like coming out of that shell, being like super unsure with myself. And when you said like somewhere in this interview, when you spoke about like, have you ever felt like that you were really scared? You know what came to mind? It was like me being like super afraid of approaching a girl that I really, really liked because we were like sitting and listening to music together. This was like in high school when you were like 15, 16, something like that. I was like struggling with like getting that courage just to say something. And I was like acting weird. I was like really weird. And that is something that has been just like, and a couple of years like going forward, just like really struggling with that. And then we had the book The Game with Neil Strauss, just like giving you like the training wheels to just like be social. How do I be, how can I just like not master, but how can I be like so much more efficient when it comes like to social interactions? So I'm like I'm really I'm like a social savant today, instead of like being like super social, awkward, and uncomfortable in my own body. And I'm crazy comfortable in my own body. I'm like Ninja Yoda level, like comfortable in my own body, even with like new people in new surroundings in a new venue, loud music, not loud music, if it like wherever. And I've been I feel that I want to I want to teach men that, especially men. I want to help men that are so uncomfortable in their own skin to just like, because I've been there. I've been so uncomfortable. I can't, like, it feels so true. And I'm getting goosebumps here about like what exactly what you're saying. Like when you're authentic, you feel that, it pulsates. Okay. And it's been like a really like long journey of being uncomfortable in my own skin, not liking my own body, being like really hard on myself. And where I'm at now, I want to just like I just want to give back. I want to see that transformation in people because I know it's possible. And I know so many things that we can do in order to just like get you more embodied, going from here and just like coming back home to yourself. So, and how I'm going to do that, I have I have no idea, but I'm so certain I'm just like gonna like because I love marketing. I'm gonna enjoy the marketing process. I'm gonna enjoy like the pivoting. I enjoy creating like the new brand, which is called Dude Tribe, doing the school community where men can just like join the tribe, and we're gonna do live events. I'm like, let's go to Bali and do a week long whatever, or let's go to Portugal and surf and just be dudes and like do some embodiment training, and like whatever it's gonna be, I know it's gonna be amazing and it's gonna be like aligned with myself. So this, and I'm 40. Like I still like, I've been saying like all the way to now, I still don't know what I'm going to do with my life. Okay, I have this major media agency, but I was doing it for a completely other reason. It was to be more with my family, to be more with my son when I got him. and not being like needing to go to like a specific location to work so we could like be together more. That was the reason. And that I had like some talents with it, but it wasn't like, this is not, I don't give a shit if I help a welding company get more clients. Like I really don't. Like I
Yeah.
think it's cool. I can make it cooler. I can make it sexier. I can make them like really grow, but it's not. It doesn't wake me up in the morning. So that's the
Man, and
big difference.
that impact that you've had, you watch. I'd be willing to bet when you really step into this fully, that it probably becomes almost effortless for you to teach, to guide, to create. Obviously, there's always going to be challenges in business, like and
Oh,
growth,
yeah.
like that's just inevitable. But you watch how effortless it becomes for you to help those men in that embodiment of that confident state within their mind and their body, because you are speaking from trueness, from genuine authenticity, that you have experienced it yourself. And then you turn around and give the power back to the men, and you trust in their ability to do it themselves while using the emotion and the experiences that you've had, because it's rooted so deep in you, because it was challenging, it was monumental, it's been beautiful now, but it was the full spectrum. You watch. Those are the types of things that become so easy to grow and to share, because they mean so much to you that you don't have to make it up. You don't have to try and deliver something outside of what you know. You're just being you. And I found that that's usually the easiest processes.
Yeah, like I got connected with my body while you were speaking about it, and it was just like expanding. I just like felt expansion when you were saying that. So thank you so much. That was like freaking beautiful. What a beautiful sitting this. And
Did we just
thank you for
become best
like
friends?
thank you for asking that question, because you really connected with me with something. I appreciate that a lot, because I was like, okay, like the time is flying right now, and I like, okay, let's just like get that last question, and thank you for putting that in there, and like just like so beautiful, and now let's wrap it up. Where can people find you?
Man, do we have to?
We don't have to.
um,
Okay, fuck that. So can I share something like from the facilitated training course? Was it like, hey, how do we end stuff? Okay, well, stuff needs to end. And we are like, people are often like really bad at ending stuff. We don't want things to end. We want things to continue, especially when they are feeling good. Do you have like a great strategy with ending like facilitations?
um, once Okay, so I don't believe that there's one way to facilitate. I
Yeah.
teach people a framework that allows them to find their own style, their own
Yeah.
personality, their own voice. Don't guide sessions like me. Don't guide them like someone else. It's a framework. So it's hard for me to say how to end a session, because then that's me projecting my own thing onto somebody, when that's not the point. The point is you figure it out for yourself, and I can just guide you. But if I were to summarize in a sense, just so I don't leave everyone on a cliffhanger, it goes back to that burger effect. Okay. So I believe that, okay, so the secret of manifestation, right? Everything that we're doing in the facilitator space as a participant is a manifestation. We're trying to manifest different emotions, our relationship with emotions, the life that we want, what we want to call in, what we want to let go of. If you think about it, all of it's actually just a form of manifestation. Well, the secret to manifesting is to then see it as if it's already happened, right? It's changing okay, the law of the universe, whatever you emit out, you'll get back in return. So if we're always looking at what I want, we're going to get back I want, not I have. So you want to make a pivot at some point to then see it as if it's already happened, because you reprogram the subconscious and the belief system that it already is. Okay. And then this is kind of the letting go. It's the full surrender and allowing the manifestation to go full circle. So how I like to end my sessions, at least, is seeing it as if it's already happened. Whether it's an emotional session, it's a tangible physical thing. It's, again, it could be around fear, confidence, self-love, inner child, trauma, anything, but seeing it as if it's come full circle and you are now chilling, setting in the space of whatever achievement that you are trying to achieve. Okay, this could be the letting go of fear, or tuning into a new vibration or emotion, even for that day. But then see yourself enjoying that emotion. How is your life different now that you've done it? What is the outcome, the achievement of whatever it is you're trying to achieve? And now you've gone through a whole process in your facilitation or your session. But now you get to bask and kind of like enjoying the fruits of your labor almost.
Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah. So that brings us a little bit closer to wrapping this up.
Can
'Cause
you can you imagine what it'll be like when we do wrap it up though?
yeah, yeah,
When this
yeah.
is over, what it's gonna be like, It's like,
What it's gonna feel like, because I'm almost peeing my pants. I'm holding
same.
myself.
I'm not gonna lie, me too.
Yeah, yeah. We've been drinking. What are you drinking? I'm drinking like some chaga here.
I'm actually having some Bakari Sweat, some electrolytes.
All right, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you so much for taking the time and being so generous with all your knowledge. And I think you're doing like something amazing. And hearing that story with how you like kick-started Niraj facilitator trainings, and like the Soma breath was like really cool to hear. It's just like when you
Mm.
see something from the outside, and then you can just like hear what have been going on under the hood. Like I love these stories.
Yeah.
Uh,
Same. Same.
thanks a
Yeah,
lot.
man. Thank you so much for reaching out. This was it was really cool how you and I kind of connected. And
Yeah, it was really organic.
really, I hope anyone listening, if you're still at this point of the podcast, which I hope so, yeah, the organic side of it, and there was no preparation. He didn't
Yeah.
give me any of the questions or, prepare me for like what was going to happen today. We both agreed that, it would go against at least my values, and he
Yeah.
wanted to just let this kind of run and flow. But we didn't talk about that. We just at the moment of getting ready to go live, we decided that was the best move. So
Mm.
everything leading up to this and everything that's happened during this session is purely unorganized, unplanned, and just free flow authentic. So, and I
Yeah.
really
And
appreciate that from you.
and to share what is happening on from my side here is like, even though I like prepared the questions and what, like, I haven't gone to the questions. I just like after 5 minutes I just like removed the tab. So I'm just like, and I like made your screen larger, and I'm just like, I'm just looking at you now. Otherwise I can like look at you and like have the other thing on the side, like the notes. I was like, yeah, we got this.
Incredible, man.
Yeah,
Hey, and congrats on the podcast and the things that you're doing. I
thank you
wish you
so
the
much.
best in the men's group and your new future endeavors. Always reach out to me if I can help support it in any way. And guys, keep
Thank,
your eye on this space. This guy's doing great things. I have a lot of respect for you.
thank you so much. And last thing, where can people find you?
Um, so website, it's super easy. Breathewithsteve.com. And Instagram, even easier, Breathe with Steve. YouTube, Breathe with Steve. Everything's Breathe with Steve, guys. You can just find me on Breathe with Steve. And that's
Yeah,
breathe with an E, not a TH, an E.
yeah, yeah. Marketing wise, that is golden. Things that rhymes because you remember it more easy. I was like, breathe with
Yeah.
Steve. It was so easy to just like reconnect with you online and see all of your things before this interview. So
Just
great
rolls
move.
off the tongue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, brother.
Cheers, man.